For the magazine I created, called Underground, I based it on the indie genre of music, however creating a local magazine for around the Sheffield area instead of a national one. To create this magazine genre, I had to follow codes and conventions, some of which I pastiched from magazines and some of which I challenged. To create the stereotypical genre of an indie magazine, I had to find someone who could stereotypically be viewed as an ideal self or partner for my chosen target audience. One way in which I challenge stereotypes is by focusing my magazine on the female genre, aged 16 to 22, instead of the stereotypical idea of an indie magazine aimed towards males. The masthead I created for my magazine was using a sans serif font. The reason to why I used this type of font was so it was prominent on the cover of my magazine and easy to read from a distance. Based on the house style I created for my magazine, which were the colours of black, white, yellow and blue, my masthead was prominently placed horizontally across my cover page and was white with a black drop shadow and then outlined in the shade of blue. The reasons behind why I chose white as the main colour of my masthead was because it contrasted well with the dark background image. The drop shadow and the colour blue was simply used to create a more prominent effect and easily readable from a distance. The colours of blue and white which I have used are neutral, which connote the audience and genre of indie music being calm. On my cover page, my main cover line is Lara, and then underneath I have used a quote that says, "It's more than just a career choice, it's an art form." The reasons as to why I have used this as my main cover line is due to my target audience, and I have also based it on my ideal reader. As my magazine is aimed predominantly at females, and my ideal reader of the magazine are not just fans of this particular genre of music, but want to be part of this music scene, with a passion for music, I believe the quote I used associated well with my target audience. The use of the artist name is used to simply introduce the artist used on the cover, and from placing the main cover line being in the centre, larger than the other cover lines on the page, and placed just underneath the model's face, it is anchorage for the main cover image. Comparing my magazine to other local magazines of a similar genre, I have pastiched the idea, as I have the artist's name largely placed as anchorage for the cover image, and then a caption underneath the artist or band name to explain or introduce them. As the magazine I was creating was predominantly aimed at a female audience, I chose to look for a female to use on the front cover of my magazine as an ideal self or partner. I used the photo on the cover page without her smiling, as stereotypically, for this genre of music magazine, it wouldn't be seen as cool. If I look and compare my cover image, the expression used is also the same. For my photo, I also made sure a direct gaze was used, as it creates a personal effect with the readers. I used props when taking the photos to create iconography for my chosen genre of magazine. The use of a guitar present on my cover page, contents and double page spread are to denote that these kinds of music instruments are used in this particular genre of music. Also, the colours used on my cover contrast well with my images, as the shade of blue is the same blue as the guitar. Cell lines were important to use on my cover page to advertise and introduce what was going to be inside my magazine. I believe, by looking at other magazines of a similar genre, I have challenged the convention of cell lines, as looking at these magazines, they only have the main cover line on the cover page. I use a banner at the top and bottom of my cover page, as they are a significant way of advertising the pages inside. I believe as my magazine is local, I have challenged the use of banners on the home page, as compared to The Fly and Toast, they have not been used. The graphics I used on my cover page were similar to the railway logo. I used this idea as my magazine is called Underground, and without driving away from the music genre, I thought the use of the railway logo and the magazine title connoted London Underground, which can often be where a lot of artists of this genre begin their journey. Also, as the genre of indie began, it was not mainstream, therefore Underground could connote the niche audience of my magazine. The house-style colours used throughout my magazine work well with the photographs I have taken. The colours of black and white make it prominent on the pages depending on the background colours used. The blue works well with the colours within the photographs I have taken, and the colour yellow I use to outline either writing, banners, graphics, and it then appears more prominent on the page than if I just use the colour blue or white. For my contents page, I kept my house style consistent by using the same colours throughout. By doing this, I believe I helped create professionalism for my magazine. I used 3 different images on my contents page. I made sure I was aware of the mise-en-scène elements within the images I had taken to make the genre of my magazine apparent. I believe the props were the most important element of the photo. Using the guitar was iconography for the genre of my magazine. Also, using the image from a live gig helps create the atmosphere of the ideal readers of my magazine and is also something that they can relate to. I compared my contents to Kerrang magazine in order to look at what conventions I had prestiged and what conventions I had challenged. I believe the layout of the Kerrang magazine was suited well for my genre. Comparing to Kerrang magazines, I prestiged the idea of the page names as it was clear and prominent on the page. However, unlike Kerrang, I kept away from the idea of too many images, as it's a local magazine my audience won't be aware of the artists. The models I have used on the contents page of my magazine I believe are ideal self or partners. I made sure I used enough images to keep the genre of my magazine apparent to my chosen target audience. For my double page spread, I had originally decided to just do an article and review. However, due to the pictures I had taken and not being able to decide which would work best for my magazine, I decided to create a title page. The images I used within my article were important, as they needed to connote my chosen genre. Comparing it to other magazine articles, such as Kerrang, I believe my images are well suited to the genre, as the mise-en-scène elements within the photos work well. For example, the guitar and piano are perfect iconography. To make it apparent what my article was focusing on, I made sure I included a slug, as it gives the audience information of what part of the magazine they were looking at. I have prestiged this idea from Kerrang magazine, as the convention works well. I placed my lead paragraph on my title page, which challenges the article of Kerrang, as they have no lead paragraph apparent. I made sure my lead paragraph introduced my article and also summarised it, also including subject-specific lexis, which would work well with my target audience, as they'd be aware of what it was involving. When inserting the body text, I placed it into columns of writing, colour coordinating the questions and the answers to make it prominent to the reader which section is the question and which section of writing is the answer. The colours I used were once again following my house style and keeping it consistent with my previous pages. When it came to inserting a pull quote, I had to consider that the pull quote had to relate with the indie rock genre of my magazine. The pull quote says, "Everything you do determines who you are as an artist." I believe this fits in well with my preferred reading of the magazine, as the quote is inspirational towards the readers and fans of the magazine, as they see the artist as an ideal self, someone they aspire to be. Looking at other magazines, such as the double-page spread of Kerrang, you can see that in the bottom left-hand corner they place their page numbers. I prestiged this idea and also inserted the name of my magazine, as it makes it apparent to the reader whereabouts they are in the magazine, and the use of the magazine name keeps it consistent with the house style. Another convention within the double-page spread of the magazine are drop capitals. The use of these separates the beginning of the text with the rest of the writing. I believe I have used this convention well within my magazine, as it's also consistent font and colour to what I have used throughout.